Hello and welcome to the third episode of our podcast, From Real to Real. So today we are going to talk not about a specific show or a movie, but we are going to talk about a genre which is very big right now, very popular. It's called true crime. So true crime mostly consists of the real life documentaries based on crime like serial killers, murders, etc., which has taken up the fascination of a huge number of audience, and we want to talk about why it is such a big thing and why people are so interested in it. Some researchers are calling the time we are living in the age of true crime because about 40% of films, documentaries, podcasts, etc. are based on this genre. Real murder mystery investigation, drug dealers and whatnot. So 40% is a very large number if you compare it with anything else. 40% is all of this. So yeah.
Today only I was having a conversation with my friend and she's like, why aren't you doing investigative journalism? It is so adventurous. I was like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
But then
think about it.
Curiosity killed the cat.
Yeah.
So even today, I myself got so engaged in this YouTube video where these two guys murdered their parents, and I just wanted to know what must have happened. And then I watched their court trial, and still, even then, I wasn't satisfied, and I wanted to know what happened when they went to jail, what happened to them after they got out of jail, and I just got so engaged in it. So it's not surprising that so many people are watching this genre.
And you will see these murder cases and serial killers which happens in real life. There's a saying that a fact is stranger than fiction. So if we take a look at these documentaries and all and the movies we have seen, so definitely we come across such stories which are like really, really strange if we go behind and see the actual motive of the killer.
Yeah.
We haven't even seen in any movie or show before. Like, it actually is stranger than fiction.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, for myself, it drives me more curious when it's real because it's real and it has happened to a person. It can happen to me or you or anybody else. So because of that, but fiction, we know that it's a story. It's written by somebody else, and it's a story. It will get over some time or other. So, and like so many of these real life killers, they haven't even been caught. Their cases haven't been caught. Like one of the biggest examples is the Zodiac killer. They have so many documentaries, so many movies, everybody trying to decode his codes. He was a serial killer who used to leave hints and codes, and even today so many of his codes have not been able to the police have not been able to crack. So the case is still open or shut, whatever you can call. It's never been solved. So things like that obviously will make
it's fascinating.
So go ahead.
So there are a couple of documentaries which is on my list. Some of them are on my list. Some of them I've watched like half and something like that. So The Ripper, it's based on it's a documentary on Netflix. It's based on the serial killer Jack the Ripper. And then there's Trials of Gabriel Fernandez. It's not like the killer's perspective, but the trial, basically it focuses on what happened behind the trial. So I'm a few episodes down and I hope I complete that. And then there are some other shows like Making a Murderer. It was the most streamed show on 2018.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And The Confessions of a Killer was another show. So yeah, there are like many docu-series on Netflix on this topic.
Absolutely. My suggestion list is always flooded with these things, and you can't help but watch some of these. One of the biggest names that was in the recent years was the Ted Bundy tape because its promotion was good, and people got more interested because oh my God, Ted Bundy was so handsome.
So what
How
is
could
the
he?
story? Like, I have no idea about the serial killer.
So unfortunately, I couldn't get to the end of the show, so I don't know what the documentary. So I don't know what happened in the end. But like any other serial killer, Ted Bundy was very charming, very very charming, and he had a style of killing. He chose girls with long brown hair and some specific details, and he was like he'll pick some random people and he'll kill them and sexually abuse them. And there still are some survivors from back in the day, and they have given us confessions. Like one of the persons said that because I cut my hair, like she had long hair before and then she cut her hair into boy cut, so Ted Bundy let her go. So things like that that make us think why, what what was his logic behind it. But I couldn't finish the show. But then again, Ted Bundy specifically was a very big name in the serial killer documentary thing, because Zac Efron, we all know Zac Efron, he also did a movie on him. And that movie, I don't think it did too well in theaters and audience, but it became a very critically acclaimed thing, and his performance was very. So there are many things. Yeah, many things that.
So I had read in my mass comm days, in my
You
school
still are in mass comm.
mass comm school days. This podcast, which was the very first podcast of podcast history, named Serial.
Serial,
I think it was an Apple podcast, I'm not sure, but that's what I remember.
Yeah.
So I got to know from you, I have never heard that podcast, that it was based on serial killers.
Yeah. It was the most streamed, and it is what made podcast what it is, and also true crime what it is. It's a mixture of both. Yeah, so this genre is about a 150-year-old, but serial was bombarded with audience, and
I think maybe because it was a different platform, and it was new, and then it was on such an enticing topic.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It blew off.
Absolutely.
Another aspect of true crime which fascinates me is the criminal proceedings. Like, how these lawyers bring the case up into the courtroom, because there might be a lot of cases where we know he is the murderer, but he still gets away. So there's a lot of anticipation, and how the story is being created by the prosecution and then the defense. So all those things are also very interesting to see in these series. And like the trials of Gabriel Fernandez, which I was saying, there were quite few scenes based on the court proceedings and all in reality. So those are also quite enticing and interesting, that how they have been convicted.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, that I wasn't satisfied even when they were judged and they were sent to jail, and I wanted to know more. So there are psychological researches behind this topic that help us understand why we love this so much. And one of the reasons that we do love this is that humans are very very curious, and crime and evil have always fascinated us. So it keeps us hooked to the screen. And also there's this psychology behind, you may or may not realize it, but while we are watching it, we are glad that we are not the victims. Like, and we start thinking, if I was in that place, what I would have done, and like I might have defended myself like this, or I would have been too scared. So it's things like that. We are always trying to solve a mystery before it's even solved on the show, or like conclusions, questions, etc. It's always a very puzzling thing.
And just like how our moms and nannies watch Crime Patrol and then give us an advice कि बेटा घर जल्दी आओ कुछ भी हो सकता
Yeah,
है.
exactly. Crime Patrol was everybody's childhood.
And
My God.
Southern India too.
Yeah,
बहुत होता
absolutely.
है.
Yeah. Uh, absolutely. So yeah, it was another form of true crime we were exposed to when we were very young, and we didn't realize the
Yeah,
effect
exactly.
it had on us. My God, I still am so scared of certain things since childhood, since I have watched it in like Crime Patrol or CID or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were like, the subtle versions of true
Yeah.
crime,
Yeah,
filtered version.
absolutely.
So there is another research which
Mm-hmm.
says that women are maximum viewers of true crime.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are a number of things which goes behind the psychology, maybe because there have been a lot of abuse for women,
Yeah.
so maybe they relate to
Yeah.
it at a certain level, and there is a fear of crime,
Mm-hmm.
and some murders are like serial killer stories and all. They have women in them, so they have compassion for victims,
Yeah.
and they also have a fascination with the motives of the killer,
Yeah.
and it's like a escape also, that if,
Yeah.
as you said, no, that if I was the victim, what you would do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
women have a lot of viewership in this
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also
genre.
because if you see the serial killer documentaries, we can say a huge number of the victims are women of sexual
Hmm.
abuse, of murder, or whatever, kidnapping, etc. For maybe personal reasons, sexual reasons, whatever they might be, they're women. And then again, in real life, we see the news, and true crime is like a part of news which we are watching. So, like news, there's always something like somebody got killed, somebody got raped, or something like that, and something bad happened to some woman, and all these voices speaking out now that we need to stand up for women and women need to be able to, go out and feel safe and all of
Hmm.
that. I think all of that adds up to,
Yeah,
so yeah, that's why. And I don't know, and once you start watching, you can't stop till you know what happens in the end. I think we also have to give credit to how these things are made because it it has to be there to keep you hooked.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, because personally, I cannot watch binge a documentary, but true crime I am hooked to. So yeah, that it has something about it, some
Yeah,
curiosity,
yeah, yeah.
whatever. So have you watched any of this true crime, any podcast or show or
You
film?
see, documentaries are still on the list, but movies definitely I've watched a
Yeah,
lot of them,
yeah,
and the fiction stories, and all of them have this curiosity element where you
yeah.
are hooked till the end. That yes, I
Hmm.
have to see this,
Yeah,
how it's unfolding, and some of them are very good.
yeah,
Like Delhi Crime is a must.
yeah,
Like it has won so many, like one big award a few
yeah,
months back, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So that was a really good fiction based on a
Hmm.
true story. Then
Hmm.
No One Killed Jessica is also a very good movie.
Yeah, yeah,
It like if you see, that story was like nothing, but then
yeah,
the girl got killed for no reason in
yeah.
that story. And Arushi Talwar case though still remains a mystery to a certain
Absolutely,
extent, but I
absolutely.
don't know who was the real killer.
Yeah,
So yeah, all of these, question makes you like sometimes leave you in a question mark, and sometimes
yeah,
interests you, excites you.
yeah. Scares us. I haven't watched Delhi Crime because I was anyway so disturbed by the case that I couldn't bring myself to watch it. So yeah, obviously scares us as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So they all come with a trigger warning that
yeah,
how much you can handle.
Yeah, and not only while watching we think that thank God we are not the victims, but there's also an element ki it could so easily be us. It could so easily be any of us, and
Yeah.
yeah, and like we wouldn't even know if a serial killer is walking next to us because like he doesn't look like a serial killer or talk like a serial killer. So how do we even know if he's a serial killer? So
Yeah.
things like that. So, to conclude today's very exciting session, I would like
Yes.
to say that psychology plays a huge role behind us watching true crime. Like, one of the biggest roles.
For
Um,
more psychology behind this, you can also check out our first episode. In that also we talked a lot. The
yeah.
Alienist.
The
So
Alienist,
yes.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, even that show gave us such a true feeling, and our podcast is based on real events and show is on
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It is very, very interesting for me, so it personally is. Would you like to
yeah.
add something?
So yeah, that's I think pretty much it.
Yeah,
And I am sure there are going to be a lot more viewers on these movies and documentaries and TV
yeah,
shows because Netflix is minting documentary series on murder
absolutely.
mysteries and serial killers like anything. I'm sure they
Absolutely.
are getting a lot of revenue out of that. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
right now on the front screen I have why they killed Sarah or why Sarah got killed, something like that.
Who killed
Who killed
Sarah?
Sarah? Yes, yes,
Yes.
that's like popping on my face all the time. Ki, watch me, please watch me. Whenever I open Netflix, it's there. It's just there.
Yeah.
Okay, this was really fun, Ankita. Thank you for
Same
joining
here.
me,
Yes, yes, definitely.
and thank you for listening to us. Signing off.